Welcome back. Welcome back to Array Tarot, your place for your weekly moon cycles. We have love and we have career/money readings, baby. We're getting into this money this week or today. So, as we get started, we are going to start by channeling. Would like to let you know that if you would like access to the extended reads, which are weekly predictive card pulls for all the signs, Aries all the way to Pisces, you can use the link in the description box. It is only $3.33 a month. You cannot beat that with a bat. And a lot of fun that happens in that community. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you, universe, for this opportunity to channel on behalf of you. Please bring messages of wealth, health, abundance, wisdom. Please bring these messages in a clear and concise way for the highest vibrational good only, and connect us with our greatest path, potential, and growth opportunities. I say all of this in the name of I am. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Let your Ashe be in everything that you do. And if you want to support the video, please like it and share the video with someone that you feel like it could help. That's lovely. Okay. The first card that came up is we have this 10 of Swords energy. So with this being about career and growth and money and stuff like that, there's this internal journey that you're taking right now that is really like you're trying to reestablish what it is that is important to you, or what is it that you want to focus on, or what is it energetically. It's like, even though it's about the outside stuff, you see that the shift is an inside shift, and you're really like saying like, okay, what is it that you have to believe in, or what is it that you have to understand about your long-term success, growth, and viability that needs to shift? And you feel it's weird because you feel this calling forward, right? But then you're still exploring forward. You know, it's not like you know everything that's going to happen, but you're like, this is the time. This is the time that I have to do X, Y, and Z. And so that's the initial energy that's coming up. Universe, can you bring us some more messages of this energy that is coming up as well for this? And then we have the 2 of Pentacles. So this is very much so balanced energy, but balancing the coins. And the first wording message that came up from universe is saying, you need a budget, baby. You need to really understand how to make your money work for you. And the first way to make your money work for you is you have to know what you're doing with your money. You can't make emotional purchases. You can't make just frivolous purchases. You really have to be very mindful with your money, because strategically, long term in your growth, say you're trying to build something, right? Say you have like a passion that you have. Well, that's going to take some capital. And, you know, everyone wants someone else to invest in them, but sometimes you'll genuinely have a good idea. Maybe you haven't built it out yet, or maybe you have built it out and the funnel is just dry. You might not have the connections, or people just feel like it's not the time. So you have to be your own funder. You have to be the one who brings that money in for yourself. So what that means is you have to get very strategic with your current funds, meaning, you know, making sure you're not taking on debt, paying off those debt, but most importantly, budgeting your money. So maybe you have your dream savings to the side. You're putting a little bit of money away each month so that finally, when you get that opportunity to, you know, level up, or to be able to go in the direction that you're learning about, that you're exploring right now, you will actually have the revenue and the income in order to be able to do so, and not feel like you're kind of like, oh, now I got to miss out on another opportunity because it's just not here right now. It's just not viable right now. And then we have the Page of Cups. Sometimes it feels like the mind and the body is in, you know, 2 different places at one time. So I can see this as you've been doing a lot of daydreaming lately, a lot of daydreaming. And I think that's a part of this going on this journey of where you would like to go. But you might be at work and you might just be feeling like, you know, just thinking about, like, you might just have like a quick glimpse, a quick thought, a quick vision of where it is you would like to go, or what path you would like to be going in. And when you get that, you're like, whoa, you know, and someone might be like, you good? You good? Or maybe no one notices at all, and then you look at the time, it's like, where did this time just go? Where did all this time go? I had all of this time and now this time is missing. Where did it go? That kind of energy, because it really is saying like you are feeling called and you're trying to discover what that calling is in that direction. Very fascinating. Money, that pinnacle energy of balancing them coins. Like, people make emotional purchases are just, are weird with money. It's usually a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Memories, these memories, this is the Six of Cups. These memories and feelings, so it's indicating that you may make nostalgic purchases, so things that make you feel good. That's what I was saying about the emotional purchases. Like, you make these purchases of things that make you feel good, things that bring you a sense of comfort in the moment. And I think that you're doing it in a kind of way where it's like, technically you can do that free for yourself internally, but you use, buying something emotionally to bridge the gap, because maybe you're too lazy to do it internally, or more likely you just never learned how. Because if people don't demonstrate to you how to balance yourself internally and emotionally, it's really, really tough to set those expectations for you to know how to do it if you just never learned it. So I think it's just a pattern, and this actually might be a pattern that you learned from others, or you may have come to your conclusion considering the life that you live, that, oh, okay, well, if I have this, and you may have had sadness when it comes to your life or money or something like that, you're like, well, I'm going to use this. I'm going to live in this moment, and I'm going to use this to bring me happiness. But there's a lot of ways to bring yourself happiness. You can bring yourself happiness by putting that money to the side and building up this dream, this journey that you're going in. You can bring yourself happiness by becoming much more strategic and like, oh, really didn't actually need to do this. I could have done that. You can bring yourself happiness by the money that you're spending for, kind of these like frivolous things. You could maybe learn how to do it, or have some education around that could be honestly free. There's so much free stuff that's out there. There's so many of these things that you could be doing, but it's saying like that's kind of the way that the spending goes. And sometimes this teeters back and forth, because people can be emotional spenders and be ridiculously frugal to the point where it's not healthy. And then we could say, like, the example I was giving was like all the way over here, but same over here. If you're so frugal and it's emotional, and you're kind of doing this like deprecation, and when it comes with money, then you might actually be holding yourself back from the opportunities that are being presented in front of you, because you feel like there's never enough money. You never feel secure enough. And so that might be a letting go or a loosening of them purse strings right there in that energy. What else, universe? What messages, higher vibrational messages, can they take across for this? And we have the Ace of Swords, which is sending the message of, it's really important to come up with a new way of looking at money, because the way you are looking at money is a direct correlation and reflection of your self-esteem. And that's just what the universe is saying. And so you have to look at it in a new way. So sometimes, depending on the person, create a list of all of the things that, you are, all the times, what you spend money on, why you spend money on it, what is best for you budget wise, and then come up with a clear understanding of why. Because so many times we'll do things in a very unconscious manner, and because we're doing it in an unconscious manner, we have no clue, really what's going on the surface level. So once you take this to the surface level and really just make some decisions here, then you can definitely connect with what works out best for you. And then this high priestess energy, I really love this energy here, because it's sending this lovely and this beautiful vibe that you are connecting in with your future self, the self, the direction that you're searching for, that you're seeking, that you're going right now. And the future self is communicating with the past, saying, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to go in that direction. This is how you need to be successful in whatever it is that you're looking to do. But this is how you should essentially approach the money part. And money is really just security, you know. So sometimes it could even be your connection to other people. You know, your security could be the connections that you have with others, the connections that you have in your, you know, network, your social circle. Because sometimes it's not always like money buys you into things. Sometimes it's like who you know, the who's who of who you know to be able to do things. Okay, universe, what other messages do you have about this? Can you give us a little bit more wisdom about the actual thing that they're going to be focusing on, or maybe what shifts are happening internally? So we have the Page of Wands, which is sending this message that you are going on this very much so new journey of both a new and nude journey, a naked journey of going in a new direction towards something, something you haven't done before, or you haven't seen things in this way before, and you're like, oh, okay. But it's very freeing and very surrendering. Like it feels very youthful. It feels very like, this is nice, type energy. And then we have the King of Swords, which is saying that you have to get the mentality correct in order to be the greatest level of success that you are looking for in whatever it is that you are doing, and making that a priority for you. What else? What other messages, higher vibrational messages, are you sending for them for their highest vibrational good? So we have the Seven of Pentacles and we have the Death card. So the way that you are doing things, it's really going to change. It really, really, really is going to change. This is actually the perfect time for you to be able to let some stuff go. And it actually is showing that the way that you are living your life today, next year, it's not going to be the same. You're going to be in a higher growth, a better situation. But look, everyone can self-sabotage. I'm not just going to give you a blanketed statement and say that everything is going to work out and then you don't have to try or do anything, because we see people, fall off all the time. So if you really follow this path, if you really follow where the universe is calling you to, you're going to be in a better place next year. You're going to have new goals next year, and hopefully you'll still remember how much progress you've made. Like, it's amazing how much progress we all make each year, and then we totally forget about it because we're on to the next thing. But you're going to be at a better and a newer place next year. But you just have to stick with the journey, because if you don't stick with the journey, you're kind of just pausing yourself until you can actually pull it together to be able to do that, And so you want to be the person who is showing up for yourself. You want to be the person who always is like, okay, you know what? I surrender to this beautiful energy that is me. And the Seven of Pentacles is actually saying you're going to be put in a lovely situation, a lovely scenario in which you are going to be doing something that you actually like to do. You are going to be paid. I just see this kind of promotion, or either a self-promotion or a promotion where you're at, or a new type of job where you are going to be paid for what it is that you prioritize, or that you really, really want to be doing, that you will have this impact that you are looking to have at this time. Very fascinating. Okay, let's continue to look and see what's going on here. Any messages, any general messages, any messages from ancestors, energetic helpers, spirit guides, lineage, anything of just words of wisdom. Explorer is what came up. So it's saying you got to be able to explore, you got to be able to go on that journey. As we started off saying, everything in life is this journey. Everything is flowing and going in a certain direction. So really be able to do that. Be able to explore, take the pressure off of yourself. Take the feeling of you have to always do things the way things have always been done, and just let it go. Because there's this new energy that's kind of like going and flowing around where you're like, I want to go in this different direction. I want to go in this new direction. And it's going to require a lot of courage and bravery. I don't even know if it's going to be tough, but internally and mentally, that's what the toughness is. Because, like back in the day, toughness might be like your ability to be much more physical. Whereas here it's having mental strength, having emotional strength. Back in the day was your physical strength. Could you pick up something? Could you scare something off? Could something not intimidate you? Things like that. But now the physical aspects is more like aesthetic and kind of looking like, oh, that's really nice. You have discipline that you're able to work out. But nowadays, the priority of being a warrior is all in the mental. It's all in the discipline. It's all in the emotional well-being. And people are finding their own way there. But that's what's going on here. The universe is saying, like, if you're going to take on this call of being a warrior, you have to understand both the mental and the emotional aspects that are happening right here and at this time. Okay, let's look on a little bit more. Any more messages, universe? We have this underworld. And so this underworld energy is sending this vibe that you have to work on what's going on underneath everything. The magical part of this, or the focal point of everything that is going on here, is that what you do, 99.999% of what's happening is happening underneath or behind the scenes. It's really validating what we were just talking about, of having that energy of like the warrior being more about the mental and emotional ability to balance, to be in control, to be in discipline more than anything. I don't want you to feel like you have to be a perfectionist or something like that, but being taking responsibility for your own feelings. Because a lot, and I do mean a lot of people will blame everybody else. When you look at it in love, oh, it's someone else's responsibility. Even if somebody was mean to someone, they still have to set those boundaries. In business, it's like, oh, the people didn't show up, or, someone is holding me back or something like that. But it's like, look, you have the ability to be creative and cunning and figure it out. Or even if you're not even in that business place, you're just building a community, or you're building some type of growth, having this growth mentality. You can look at it from the perspective of like, okay, it is up to you to put in all the work you need to. And if something's not working out here, that means you need to pivot and grow it, or you need to put a little bit more work into seeing what makes it work. And it's those who are able to kind of get through the tough times, get through those times where it's like maybe not as clear as they wanted to get through, but they figure out a way that like really, sets them apart from the competition. No, seriously. That is like straight up energy that's coming across. Let's see what else we have as well. So what plan, should they use? What roadmap, what guides should they use as they are going on this particular journey? It seems like it's very much so a money journey, and anything, because currently Uranus is in Taurus. It's in Taurus for 7 years. That's always a time to get your funds together. It's always a time of financial volatility, but it's always a time to get your funds together. So what is it that they need to do during this time? Oh, okay. So the first thing that came up here is, let me see what came up here. Judgment. There has to be a moment where you let go of the judgment that you have. So you kind of have to forgive yourself of the past. So if there's things that maybe didn't work out, like maybe you did a bad investment, or you invested in something that didn't work out. Let me tell you something. For those who are entrepreneurs, most of the things that you're going to invest your time in will either not work out or have a timeline. And what I mean by that is like sometimes you just have something that seems like a good idea. You might invest your time. You might invest your time and money. You might invest other people's time and money and your time and money. And then, it just doesn't work out. And that's just a part of it. Okay. Wanting a 100% success rate it's unrealistic. It doesn't happen. And a lot of times there are many successful things that businesses, companies, products that failed and had to come back and failed and had to come back. So if they just kind of gave up after that first time, it is what it is. But also at the same time, you need to understand when you need to let something go because there really is no market for it, or when, you have something that it's ahead of its time. And doing that is kind of like the make or break of like you just being kind of like crazy versus you being someone who is very innovative, Renaissance, very forward thinking. But you have to release that judgment, and then you're going to get things that work out. And sometimes it's things that you didn't even expect. Not interesting, but it just works out really well. And so kind of looking at it from a bigger perspective, bigger picture, and not just a little picture. Not everything has to work out perfectly all the time. And then you have this Knight of Wands, which is this sense of certainty, the sense of determination as you are going in your path, you are going forward in the actions that you need to take in order to build with whatever this is that you are building. And then I see almost like, this community, this tight-knit community, but almost like you're learning from someone. So this could be a message to seek a mentor or to be a mentor. There's some type of mentoring situation going on here. And I see you as like really laying the foundation and the groundwork for something bigger. You're doing what you can. Like this is sending this vibe of this Three of Wands of like, you are doing what you can. You're using what you have now to do what you can. And we have Temperance and we have the King of Cups. So Temperance is sending the message that you need to be balanced with what you're doing. Everything that you do should be balanced in your overall big picture, your overall energy. And the King of Cups is this really reflective energy that is like, it speaks to that balance. You could be successful and have no work-life balance. And the success is kind of pointless because you don't get to enjoy life. Before you could have been tethered to a job. Now you have money or something like it, and you're tethered to whatever it is that you have to do. So did you really create freedom? Financial freedom is always very important, but let's be very honest. You can feel like you've built yourself in a crystal cage because then, you try to get out of that and you can't get out of it. And then you're afraid that you're going to go back to this other place. So, but if you can balance that, if you can find this perfect balance, and that's how you know when something's going to be successful for you, it works out and it works with the lifestyle and the goals that you want to have as well. That takes time and that takes patience, that takes years, that takes trying things out and letting things go. And also some things have a timeline. What I mean by that is like, what's a thing? Like I'm sure people had huge businesses bedazzling like, razors and flip phones back in the day, but nobody wants to get their iPhone bedazzled anymore. It's like not a thing. Maybe like, a nice case. And think about it like that. You might have had a whole business of Swarovski crystals that you bedazzle phones and it didn't, and it had its time period and then you let it go. But that doesn't mean a business can't pivot. Someone who just is trying to force something that has already expired, that is no longer has a market, they're going to lose all of what they learned and what they had from that. No, pivot on to something else. Nobody wants to bedazzle phones anymore. Okay, so you learn everything you need to about phone cases and do your cute little bedazzle phone cases or do this, and that. And with phone cases, pivot. I've heard it said that, Blockbuster should have been Netflix, Blockbuster should have been Netflix. Blockbuster had the infrastructure. Everybody knew what Blockbuster was. It was a big thing. But Blockbuster was trying so hard to hold on to this DVD, videotape rental that was in person. Even though when Netflix started, they were doing rentals just online. So they didn't have all that overhead. They had a warehouse. I actually remember, Netflix actually isn't that old, but I definitely remember getting the Netflix CDs. Y'all remember you could get it was really cool. It was like you get like a certain amount of CDs a month, and then they'll send it to you. You get the CDs or the DVDs, and you can play it. And they try to do it with like a game version, and then they had this other kind of game version and stuff. But Netflix came and just like ankle kicked Blockbuster because they were smarter. They got rid of a bunch of overhead. Amazon did this too. Amazon was able to get to provide a quality e-commerce business and eventually retail platform marketplace without the overhead. That's what Netflix did, and Netflix got smart because Netflix did it better than Best Buy. It had a larger reach. It wasn't limited to just the community X, Y, and Z. It had a larger reach, and on top of that, it got into streaming. It got into streaming to the point where now you can't rent, a physical DVD. So it could have just did what Blockbuster did, but maybe it learned from it. It's like, okay, let's get into streaming. So much so that people know what a Netflix is. Netflix made it really viable for these other streaming services and platforms to really work. There are Oscar winning movies that are exclusively on Netflix. That's how you know something's serious, because before, streaming stuff was just like, you don't really take it serious. It's gonna be next level when they start doing like YouTube videos that like are Oscar award winning and things like that. But even Netflix movies having big budgets, big actors on the different movies. Everybody who streamed Bird Box. I saw a funny meme where it was like Bird Box. It was like 100 million people are streaming, and they were like, how Netflix is trying to figure out how 100 million people streamed on 20 accounts. Because everybody was sharing a password. So anyway, let's just close with some wisdom. Universe, is there any other messages that you want to send for them on this particular journey that they are taking? We are so receptive and appreciative. Okay. So we have the 10 of Pentacles, rightly so. Everything was about this money and this balance and this coins, honey. So the the 10 of Pentacles. So it's saying that the vision that you want, which is financial security, being able to live the life that you want, whether that is for your family, the people you love, or the people you surround yourself with, it will happen. That's actually why you're going on this journey right now, because you're looking to how do you get there, and you in the future who works it all out is pulling you in a direction. It's just up to you about how quickly you get there. And strategically too, you can't burn out, because then you're not going to be able to get there. But then if you go too slow, you give up, you self-sabotage, you're missing out on all of these beautiful opportunities. But very exciting read. Really enjoy that. I hope you enjoyed this career, money, business kind of cycle. We have weekly reads on the love and reads like this, as well as the weekly moon cycles. And if you would like to have access to the extended reads, weekly predictive readings, Aries all the way to Pisces, you can use the link in the description. And it is only $3.33 a month. You cannot beat that with a bet. Okay, I will see you soon. Bye.